Hi friends! As you can tell, we're in a weird spot right now. I'm actually sitting in my kitchen, but that's because I have an episode of Chapters in Cooking and I'm so excited to do this video. It has been so long since I've made one of these vlogs and I just love cooking and I love reading and I love that I can combine these two and make food from fiction novels. And that's what this little series is all about, if I can even call it a series. There's only 2 episodes that I've done. This episode is based off of A Dark and Secret Magic by Wallace Kinney. I read this book last year. I don't remember much detail, but I know that there is a lot of beautiful food imagery in this book. And I actually have notes on my phone from last year. So you can see that I've had this idea for a whole year and it's taken me a year to make this video. So A Dark and Secret Magic is about a witch named Hecate or Kate, as she goes by with her friends, but she is a hedge witch, so she basically embodies like cozy, comfy cooking and making tinctures and just like basic, like kind of kitchen witch magic. As a hedge witch, she basically feels an obligation to take care of people. She ends up being asked by her older sister to host this year's coven gathering on Halloween. So this is like a week before Halloween. And she has a person from her past show up on her doorstep who she knows very well, and he is a practitioner of dark magic. And so she ends up having to take him in as part of her hedge witch duties, even though she does not want to. And there is a little bit of a romance from what I can remember. This book was so unique and good. There's a witch in here that has like sea glass magic, so she literally has like sea glass and she is able to like throw them and do different things with them. It's very unique. I liked that. I think I ended up giving it 4.5 stars last year. The food is the focus in this book, at least for our purposes of this video. I'm going to be making 3 recipes based on this book, and I will tell you a little bit more about the other food that's mentioned in here. So there is a pomegranate and pumpkin pick-me-up punch, which sounded really delightful and fun. There is a Ghost Be Gone gin and tonic, where her and her sisters drink gin and tonic as a way to get rid of an ex. There is truth-telling spaghetti, which I will be making spaghetti sauce with you guys. A salted caramel hot chocolate, pumpkin cinnamon pancakes, which we will be making here in just a minute. Careful caramel apples. On Halloween night, Kate makes caramel apples for all of the children for their trick-or-treating, and she puts a little spell on them to keep them safe in the whole year. And I think that is just like so cute, and it definitely lends to the idea that food is comfort and food is magical. And the big thing that I want to make in this video with y'all is the Better Than Anything Halloween cake. What does that mean? That is a chocolate apple spice cake with chocolate ganache in between the layers and peanut butter frosting. I've never made anything like that before. I don't even think I've ever made like a layered cake before, but we're gonna try. I'm gonna do it, and you guys can watch me either succeed or fail. I don't know. We will see. But I'm excited to try this with you guys. I just like cooking. I miss cooking for y'all. But let's get started. We're gonna do pumpkin pancakes first, and then I will make some spaghetti sauce.
While gathering my ingredients, I realized that I was out of brown sugar, so I had to make some. This is 1 cup of sugar to 1 tablespoon of molasses, and that will make light brown sugar. Just put it in my kitchen stand and kind of forget about it until it all changes to the same color. Super easy and super handy recipe to have. Now I'm making the filling for the cinnamon pancakes. And on to the actual pancakes. I will, of course, have this recipe linked down below. In this recipe, I followed to a T, and I still couldn't get it right. I prefer to weigh out my dry ingredients if I can. It's just so much easier than trying to scoop the flour into cups. Alright, here we go. I threw away the first pancake before this because the first pancake always turns out terrible. I don't care how skilled you are at making pancakes, you always have at least one bad one. This sugar was just melting and I was having difficulties. And I thought maybe it's because I was making my swirls too thick. But even later on, off camera, when I thin out the stream from the bag, it does not help at all. I don't know what I did wrong, but I could not get the little swirl to turn out. So I gave up and just decided to make pancakes without the swirl.
Good morning. It is currently Monday, and I'm about to get started on the spaghetti sauce. I have my pan heating up behind me. Listen, y'all, this is not a very fancy sauce. I am going to use canned sauce and just spice it up a little bit. My husband actually invented this recipe the other day, so we're just going to try to recreate it as best as I can. I wasn't here when he made it, but he told me how to do it.
For this recipe, you're going to need 1 pound of ground beef, onion, garlic, 2 cans of tomato sauce, salt, pepper, Italian seasoning, and a little bit of heavy cream. So you're going to want to brown your meat, add the onion as well. Once that fat is nice and rendered out, you're going to want to drain it off and then add your garlic. Give that a good stir, and once it becomes fragrant, you're going to add in your 2 cans of tomato sauce and your seasoning. Then cover and just let the flavors marry for 10-15 minutes. Simmered for 10 to 15 minutes, you're going to uncover it, add your heavy cream, and mix to combine. That's it.
All right, I am so excited for this apple cake, but I'm also kind of nervous. The recipe that I'm using for this is actually a chocolate spice cake, and I'm going to add some apples. And instead of using eggs, I'm going to use applesauce. So hopefully that'll give that apple flavor, but I could not find a chocolate apple spice cake recipe, so I'm just kind of winging it here. I am brewing my coffee right now. I'm gonna slice and shred some apples for my cake, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this all goes really well. All right, let's get into it.
When picking apples for this recipe, I was really torn between going with a sweet apple versus a tart apple, so I just did one of each. I'm just cutting it into smaller chunks to make it easier to go through my shredder. I love this kitchen tool. This is probably my favorite tool that I own because it makes my life so much easier. There's so much apple juice in the bottom of this, so I need to drain it off. Here I'm making the start of my cocoa bloom. This is just some hot coffee into the cocoa powder. I mixed all the dry ingredients off screen just to save some time. I was so concerned that this was just going to be like a cookie dough instead of a cake mix, but it did come together in the end. And there's that applesauce. It's 1/4 cup of applesauce to replace 1 large egg in any recipe. I didn't know how much apple to actually add, so I just started with about half and then I added the rest. So I did use both apples that I shredded. And then here I am preparing my cake pans, and I did weigh out the batter. The recipe that I was following said that that's the best way to do this. Fingers crossed. All right, let's get started on this ganache. I used a 1-to-1 ratio, so I'm using 4 ounces of chocolate and 4 ounces of heavy cream, which I have heating up on the stove. This is just me chopping up the chocolate. You have to chop it up kind of small. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the smaller it is, the faster it'll melt. And I did add a little bit of salt in there. And I let that sit for 5 to 10 minutes, just to let that heat kind of start to work on the chocolate without any elbow grease. And then here it is.
I made ganache. I put some salt in there just to take away from a little bit of the sweetness. Maybe I shouldn't have done that though because I used dark chocolate. I don't know. But I made ganache. This is my first time ever making it. Oh, let me show you the cakes. So when they came out of the oven, they fell. You can't really tell on camera. But the centers are a little sunken in. We have to wait for them to cool, and then I can trim them and layer them. And in the meantime, we're going to make our buttercream. Okay, listen. When I thought I was gonna make a cake, I didn't think I'd get this far. I don't have a cake round, so I'm just going to use a dinner plate. Thankfully, it fits right in the center, but yeah, I didn't really think that through. I have the Lazy Susan off of my dining room table. It's gonna help me pipe my icing onto this. And I do have a cake decorating kit that I've never used before, and I've never decorated a cake like this. You know, in college I would just slap some icing on it, and maybe I'd put some icing in a bag and pipe on happy birthday real quick, but I've never done any decorations or filling or anything like that. So this is me being an amateur and having fun. So if I'm doing it wrong, that's okay. I'm still having fun. Let's pipe this together.
Not gonna lie, I watched a 6-minute tutorial on how to pipe and get my bag filled. So that's how I knew how to do this. But I still did it. I think it came out so cute. But then I realized that I needed to fill up another bag. So that's what I did off camera. This is that peanut butter frosting going around, and I don't know why, but I wasn't using the Lazy Susan at this point. But later on I discovered that she ain't lazy. She was doing most of the back work for me because I did not want to keep having to turn this plate manually. I'm so glad I put it on the Lazy Susan. I do not have an icing spatula, so I just used a nice little butter knife, and you know what? It worked for a time. And then I found something better. This kind of looks like a chocolate pie to me, just with the light cream color of the peanut butter frosting. I just thought it was so cute. I was so nervous just to slap that frosting on there, but it turned out to be fine. This peanut butter frosting tastes like the inside of a Nutter Butter bar. You know, when you're a kid and you kind of pull apart those chocolate peanut butter bars and you lick the peanut butter out. Does anybody else do that? Or is it just me? But that's what this frosting tastes like. It's so good. here I go. I found something better. I just decided to use one of my plastic bench scrapers and it worked so well. It's so satisfying just to watch that icing smooth out. I wanted like a thicker layer on top. There was some inspiration photos that I was going for from Pinterest and that had like a little bit of a thick layer of icing on top and then very bare on the sides. And I think I got a good complete look of that. Except then I turned it and it was bare. Whoops.
Unfortunately, my camera died while I was decorating the cake, but I will put the finished design here. And I thought it came out really cute. I kind of wish that I had dyed the icing just a little bit different color so it was not as monotone, but I really loved this challenge for myself. Even though the pancakes didn't turn out, they still tasted really good, and I'm glad that I was able to try something new and just have fun in the process. I definitely, in the future, would change how I make these cakes. Maybe plan a little bit better, like have a cake round on hand. I even thought about cutting a cardboard box, but I just didn't have the right size. If there is a book that you guys have in mind that you would like me to cook from or find recipes that are inspired by a certain book, please let me know in the comments down below. I am happy to take suggestions and cook for y'all in a way. I just found out about a book called Recipes for an Unexpected Afterlife, and it is described as a cozy foodie book. It's a cozy foodie fantasy, and it sounds perfect for the next episode of this. Unfortunately, it is an 18-week wait from the library, but hopefully I'll read something else that inspires me to do another one of these episodes. These are some of my favorite videos to make. I will see you guys soon in the next video. Happy reading. My messy ass kitchen behind me. Let's do it that way. Oh, I like that angle. That's cute as hell. Where's this angle been my whole life? Oh my god, okay. Back it up just a little bit. Alright. Unfortunately, it is an 18-week wait. Unfortunately, it is, oh my god.